Hello, this is Mrs. Burrell. I'm going to talk to you about the differences between AFDA and Algebra 2. AFDA stands for Algebra, Functions, and Data Analysis. There's some algebra in it, but there's also data analysis work, which includes probability and statistics. AFDA is assessed with projects that are done in class, and there's no homework. There's also no SOL. In AFDA, we emphasize depth of learning and understanding, and the majority of the problems are set in the real world. If you do take AFDA, the next course for you would be Algebra 2. Algebra 2 is all algebra, more theoretical and less real world. Some of the students will take an SOL, but if you've already passed a math SOL in high school, then you will not. The emphasis is learning a larger number of standards at a faster pace. And if you do take Algebra 2, you don't have to take AFDA ever. You'll take IB Math or Trig and Discrete or Pre-Calculus or Data Science. So both classes are rigorous courses, and in both classes you'll have to think and figure things out. So we're going to see how well you understood the differences between the classes. Student A always loved math. She did well in Algebra 1 and felt like she understood easily, but she's not doing so well in geometry and manages to keep a C by working with a teacher after school. She thinks that she might want to take an IB class eventually, and she dreams of a career as a computer programmer. So think about which class this student might want to take. And it seems likely that this student would want to take Algebra 2. Because she wants to get to an IB class, then she doesn't want to have to take the AFDA before the Algebra 2, which both happen before IB. So she could just take Algebra 2 and then the next year an IB class. And being a computer programmer would need a strong foundation in mathematics. Student B always loved math and feels like she understands when the teacher explains a new topic, but then she has trouble remembering everything on the day of the test. She doesn't have time to complete homework, and for this reason falls behind in class at times. So take a moment and think about which course this student might want to take. So because she has issues with testing, she may prefer doing the projects in AFDA, and she doesn't have time for homework, and you will definitely need to do homework in Algebra 2. So AFDA seems like it could be a good choice for this student. Student C found math to be boring and unimportant. He plans a career as an artist and only takes math because he has to. He's decent at memorizing the steps, but he gets annoyed that he can get the right answer without understanding what the steps mean. So which class would this student like? The student might prefer to take AFDA because in AFDA you can see the real world connections and it seems more important. Also in AFDA you don't have to memorize so much since you're doing projects instead of tests. And you have the time in AFDA to get that deep understanding where you know why you're doing certain steps. Student D. Math has always been challenging for him, but he enjoys a challenge. To him, math problems are fun puzzles to solve, and he even enjoys taking tests. He doesn't really care if problems are set in the real world, and he gets annoyed by projects. So I think you might know this one. If you don't like projects, then AFDA is probably not a good choice for you because there'll be a project every unit. This student probably would do well taking Algebra 2. Here are some quotes from some AFDA students. I won't read all of them to you, but let's look at this very last one. You should take AFDA because it goes more in depth with algebra. It teaches you more about algebra and how it's used day-to-day basis. It teaches you to be more comfortable using Desmos and talking to new people. Overall, it's a fun course and more laid back, perfect to take if you already have a busy schedule or want to do some fun projects. There are some other quotes from AFDA students that you can read as well. Here are some quotes from some Algebra 2 students. This student at the top said, "Me personally, I prefer tests more than projects. I found projects to be more time-taking and more difficult in general." And the second student said, "Algebra 2 was very well paced for me, and the content we are learning is not too difficult." Another student said, "If you just apply yourself, you will do good in the class." So you can take a minute to read some of the other quotes. So here are some important considerations about your plans for after high school. If you take AFDA, you would probably need to take Algebra 2 next. NOVA requires Algebra 2, and if you don't take Algebra 2, NOVA would need you to take a placement test, and perhaps if you don't do well on the placement test, you would need to take some courses before you start taking the courses that would count for college credit. If you want to go to a four-year college right after high school, they prefer and sometimes require that you take a math class after Algebra 2 in high school. So you need to make sure you have time to take Algebra 2 in another math class after Algebra 2, not AFDA, if you want to go to a four-year college right after high school. You need 3 high school math classes for a standard diploma. So it could be geometry, Algebra 1, geometry, and AFDA, or it could be Algebra 1, geometry, and Algebra 2. And for an advanced diploma, you need 4 high school math classes. So you could do Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and maybe pre-calculus. You have a lot of choices there. Or you could do Algebra 1, Geometry, AFDA, and Algebra 2. Here's some contact information for me. Remember, I'm Mrs. Burrell. I teach Algebra 2, but I've taught AFDA several years. And Mrs. Johnson, who also teaches Algebra 2. Dr. Green is an AFDA teacher, and Mr. Zavala is an AFDA teacher. Thank you.